Okay, well, good Wednesday morning, Jet fans. It is November 13th, 2019. It is 8:08 a.m. I know the clock behind me says 9:08, and I promise you I will change that. This is our midweek report, our bonus Jet coverage report, because I can't get enough of speaking about and following this team, regardless of the schedule and the results. But before we click into Jet news, Week 10 ended on Monday night in a wonderful game, a great game that went to overtime in San Fran, where the Seattle Seahawks beat the 49ers in overtime. Great game. The 8-0 49ers now 8-1. There was a little bit of a controversy. Geno Smith, everyone, Jet fans know Geno Smith, went out there to call the coin toss, and it sounds like he called tails. And it was heads, and the referees gave the ball to Seattle. Now, there were 49er players out there as well, of course, at the 50. Some are saying that his southern accent made it sound like tails, or made it sound like heads, or the opposite. But there was no feedback or any type of protest from the 49ers, so I'm guessing he called when it was flipped. Seattle took the ball, and we went back and forth in overtime, and then finally Seattle kicked the field goal to win it. So there are no undefeated teams in the NFL. That was just a great game. Wake up this morning to check out anything that's going on, any updates, and the first thing I see is a report by Ian Rappaport on Twitter that the NFL will be holding private workout with Colin Kaepernick and invited all 32 teams to attend in Atlanta on Saturday. It is also being reported that if your team does not report to go and see the workout, the NFL will send a tape of or a recording of the workout to the NFL team. I don't know if you have to request it, or every NFL team that doesn't come will get a copy, regardless if they ask for it or not. Now, for those of you who know me, you know I'm not political. Religious, yes. Political, no. And it's religious to the point where I'll discuss it, but I won't preach. I won't push. It's just discussion. It's just an interest. It's something that is part of me. But I'm not political at all. I won't tell you who I voted for, who I didn't vote for. I won't discuss people in power, people in office, and what they're doing, and what they're not doing, and how I like them or don't like them, or whatever. Colin Kaepernick started this in 2016, and he had every right to say what he wanted to say. That's all I could say. Freedom of speech, whatever it is. I may not agree, or I may agree. I'm not going to get into that. But he hasn't played in 3 years. In those 3 years, he has not played any type of organized football, any type of organized drills. He has kept himself in shape. I guess he works out, they said, every day. His body is in athletic shape, but he hasn't had a playbook in front of him. He hasn't run any type of offense or anything like that. That's number one. Number two, he was actually, I don't know if he was injured or benched before he started the campaign and protests, but he was on the decline. After that Super Bowl, the years following that, I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years, he was not doing well, and he was in his coach's doghouse to begin with. And I believe he was sat down at one point. So are teams blackballing him? It would seem so. You can't tell unless a team comes out and says we don't want him because of what he did. You can't say anything. You can assume. You know, we're all have a mind of our own. We all can make judgments. But can he still play? So that's the question. And can a team use him? Does a team want him and possibly face either a monstrous amount of protest or a monstrous amount of support for people who believe in what he was doing or people who are against what he was doing? People want that headache. I mean, you look at Tim Tebow when he came to the Jets. ESPN actually camped out of Jet camp in Florham Park and reported that Tim Tebow ran without a shirt on. Tim Tebow threw a football into a garbage can from 20 yards away. I mean, anything Tim Tebow did was reported. So, you know, anything that Colin Kaepernick does is going to be reported both positively and negatively. So I read that. I put on Boomer and Geo. They have a simulcast at a WFAN reported sports talk radio here in New York. And Boomer Esiason and Geo start speaking about it. And the first thing they say is the NFL's doing this to save face and to try to get Colin back on the team. But Boomer also goes into Kaepernick already received. First of all, Kaepernick said when he started this campaign, it's way above football, and he'll take any repercussions that come with it. Now, some of those repercussions could be that he's not playing. But he did receive a settlement from the league. So you can't accept money because you're saying you're being blackballed, and this is kind of a compensation for you for damages, and then the league say, okay, we're going to get you a job. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But in this high-profile sport and organization, the league is trying everything it can do to help out Kaepernick and save face at the same time. Again, I don't know if that's needed or necessary. I don't know if he would be able to get on the own team. But listen, if he has the talent and he can bring a team to a championship, there may be a team that takes him. It is what it is. Also, it's reported that Kaepernick had no idea that the league was doing this, which I find very surprising because it's already Wednesday, so I can't see them releasing a statement or releasing a report saying that they're holding tryouts for all 32 teams to go to Atlanta and watch him work out. And the reason why I guess they're doing a neutral stadium or a location is, number one, for him to go to all 32 teams would take over a month. Obviously, if he goes one a day or even two a day, and there's not there's not many weeks left. There's only 7 weeks of the season left, and also it takes away from the circus again of him going to your facility, going to your headquarters, where the newscasts and sports and whatever reporters are going to be following them and camping out outside. NFL also released a statement saying that any teams that do not show up to the tryout can receive a recording, a video recording of the tryout, so they can look at him. So teams that don't send any representatives or any scouts will get a copy. I don't know if they need to request it or every team will get a copy regardless, requested or not, if they did not show up. I don't know if he plays again or not. It's not up to me to say. It's not my call to say a man should have a job or not. And I covered that with Adam Gase as well. But this will happen Saturday and maybe Monday when I do my recap. We will have some news on this. So speaking of Adam Gase, it's been reported that the Johnsons, Christopher Johnson, has said that they're going to be patient with Adam Gase. I am not a fan right now. He has not done anything to prove to me that patience will be the right way. It will be another year, another wasted year. I mean, we could go 9-7 this year. We could go 2-14 this year, or anywhere in between that. If Adam Gase gets another chance and has a healthy team, and we go 5-11 next year, what did that patience do? And now with 2 years with Adam Gase and 3 years into Sam Darnold's career. So I'm not a fan. I wish he'd prove me wrong. The only way I think Adam Gase in my head stays here is if they win the next, they go 7-9, and they win 5 of the next 7, and they show competitiveness, they show improvement, and they show that Sam is developing quickly and is progressing quickly. But I don't. But other than that, I mean, anything less than 7-9, I think you fire him after 1 year. And again, it's not up to me, and I don't like to see anybody lose a job. But my concern is this team, and that should be Joe Douglas's concern. He has a 6-year contract to turn and right this ship. And yes, Adam Gase was part of Joe Douglas coming here, but Joe Douglas's loyalty and job is to get the Jets to the next level and get them to where every NFL team wants to be. That's playing a game a Sunday in February. Not just January, but that game in February is where you want to be. and Joe Douglas needs to realize that maybe Adam Gase, if he's not the answer, that they have to move on from him. But that's his job. Adam Gase has his job. Joe Douglas has his job. Sam Darnold has their job. Um, so that's where we are. Sam, God bless this young boy, this young man. He's so full of positivity. After the win on Sunday, he had said something about, okay, we're still alive. We can still get to the playoffs. Um, they have to win out first of all to have any shot. That goes nine. Then you got to go 9-7. So they got to win the next 7 games. I have NFL Network on in the background, and they were going over the Jets game on Sunday. They were talking about what Sam said and whatnot, and they said something about how things can work out. And first of all, they have to go out and beat Washington. They got to go 9-7. And then they got to root for teams to lose, like Buffalo and like the Browns, and like the Dolphins, and like the Steelers, even the Raiders. And while doing that, you also got to hope that the Dolphins beat the Browns when they face each other, because you have another shot to play the Browns, and you can wind up splitting the head-to-head. And then they just they just were rambling on, and they were throwing out all these innuendos and all these head scratchers. And they said the last time the Jets made the playoffs was in 2010. The number one song or number one album being sold, number one pop song or pop album being sold was by Kesha, and it was called TikTok. 2019, one of the most popular apps on a phone is called TikTok. And if for all of you that don't have children or that are not iPhone or smartphone savvy with these apps, TikTok is a music app that you record yourself dancing certain moves to the music. Then when you play it back, it has all these special effects and whatnot to it. It's like a 20-second blurb. So TikTok in 2010 was the number one song. TikTok in 2019 is the number one app. Coincidence? Who knows? But if the Jets went out, I mean, you got to give Sam Gase Coach of the Year, and that's something that 4 weeks ago or 4 days ago you wouldn't even think of. But winning out is a long way off, and me being the most optimistic Jet fan in my eyes, I'm very realistic, and I know that winning out is going to be excruciatingly hard, extremely hard. Excuse me. So keeping up with Jets, we had 2 injuries this week. Brian Winters, who was reportedly had a separated shoulder, has a tear as well. He is done for the season. The report was he was playing most of the year with this injury. Sunday just made it worse. I think it completely tore it on Sunday. I give him a lot of credit. He played through the pain, but with that pain, he also played subpar. But I can't take away from him going out there and playing like a beast and being a warrior. But I guess this is going to be it for him. I don't think he comes back. Chris Herndon, this has just been a nightmarish season for him. I mean, Quincy Enunwa got hurt in week 1, and this is the second time he's on IR for an injury that's missing most of the season. But Chris Herndon got suspended the first 4 games, and everybody was looking forward for him to come back. And this is where Sam is going to use that safety valve, and it'll open up the running game, and Herndon making those one-handed catches, and Herndon over the middle, and Herndon being his target, and then Crowder will get open, and then Robbie down this. Herndon got hurt in practice after his 4-game suspension, so he missed the next 4 games. Last week was his first game that he actually saw playing time. He caught a pass, and that was it. He has fractured ribs or broken ribs. He's done for the season, so it's been a nightmare for him. The Jets are depleted with injuries, and again, it's part of the territory. But it's just like every week is something new that happens with an injury or something. I think they said last week there was 26 people on the injury report, which is ridiculous. So the Jets are playing Washington this week, and I won't go into any previews. But the Skids are 8-3-0 all time against the Jets. The last game was 2015 in MetLife. I believe. MetLife. And I believe the Jets lost in overtime. I honestly don't recall that game. I know, we played them. I don't remember. Sometimes I can remember certain games. I can't remember this Washington game for the life of me. Um, but if I start reading about it, it may come back to me. I remember little snippets of each game that I've attended or watched. So that I'll go over the preview on Friday. Um, New York Post reported something today like the Jets fans need to have patience, but they're not going to like what's going on currently. For the last 9 years, 10 years, all right, I'll go back to when Sanchez and Rex came into the league. The Jets came off that 9-7 season with Favre, and they were headed towards the playoffs. They were going to win the division. The Giants also. That was the year with Plaxico shooting himself. They were running the table as well, and there was talk of what if both teams have to host a championship game? We'll have to have a game on Sunday, have a game on Monday night, possibly have a game early Sunday, a game late Sunday night. They didn't know, and that was all for naught because the Jets never made the playoffs. They hire Rex Ryan after getting rid of Eric Mangini, um, and Rex and Tannenbaum. They pick Mark Sanchez, number 4 in the draft. Sanchez was a game manager and got them to the playoffs, basically on the running game and on the defense, got to the AFC Championship game. Following season, yes, AFC Championship game again. Sanchez did have some nice passes. He developed a little bit more, not much, and that was it. He kind of hit his ceiling. From that point on, it was Tim Tebow, it was Geno Smith, it was Plaxico Burress, it was just signing Cromartie and Revis back. Revis left, Revis came back. Revis won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. Excuse me, and then it culminated with Tannenbaum getting fired and Idzik coming in, and then Rex and Idzik getting fired, and then Maccagnan coming in. And Maccagnan came in 2015, and the Jets went 10-6 and missed the playoffs in Buffalo by a hair to Rex, which made it even worse. But when Tannenbaum left, Idzik took over, and Idzik drafted 19 players while he was here. On the team today, so in 2000, I want to say it was 2014. 2014, Idzik came in, or maybe 2013, Idzik came in, and he drafted in 14. 19 players are drafted. 2 are still on the team. You want to know who the 2 are? Quincy Enunwa, who's on his second major injury and probably, in my mind, won't play for the Jets again and probably won't play football again. And Brian Winters, who we just lost for the season, who probably won't play for the Jets again. So basically, active players on the Jets right now, John Idzik drafted 0. So Joe Douglas now will have his first draft coming up in April. I guess it's April. I don't know if it'll be May. Sometimes it's early May. And at 2-7, and second weekend, or I should say the third game in November, we're looking towards a draft. But I'm just looking towards the state of the team. So that's where Joe Douglas's job is going to be. He needs to bring in talent that's not only going to make a difference, but be here for the long haul. Injuries happened, but the other 17 players that are not on the Jets team are either cut, let go, not re-signed, traded, or not even playing football anymore. I don't even know how many players aren't even playing football anymore. But it's ridiculous. I can name player beyond player, that were drafted. You got Calvin Pryor. You have Devin Smith, who I think is on Dallas right now. You have I forgot the Steven Smith or Stephen Hall, something like that. Just players who just could not do it, and Jets used second round picks, first round picks. Vlad Dukas, Dwayne Robertson. It's just been a nightmare with drafts. If you go on YouTube and you do draft blunders for the Jets, I don't know if those go as far as now, but you'll have Kyle Brady, who I really thought was going to be the new Mark Bavaro. You have, what's his name? Kenny O'Brien over Dan Marino. Kenny O'Brien over was it Jim Kelly, Brownie Nagel over Brett Favre. I mean, it goes on and on. So, Judd Douglas, you have your work cut out for you. And that's it. I won't speak again about the plane flight over to fire Adam Gase. It is what it is. People have their own agenda, and that's what they want to do. To me, listen, if I owned a company and somebody was trying to force me to make a decision on my management, being in the powerful position that I'm in, I'm not going to succumb to the pressure. That's just the way it is. If you're not part of the company, and they're not, we buy products from the Jets. We purchase tickets to view their product. So if I don't like Steven Spielberg, I just don't go back to see his movies. I don't go to Hollywood and fly a plane over his home, tell him to make better movies or to get a better director or better actors. Excuse me. Change of weather's killing me. That's just the way I look at it. So, do I think Adam Gase should be fired at 2-7? Yes. If they go 9-7, 8-8, and they make a run, you know what? Maybe this guy does deserve a chance with this team now depleted that he got that much out of them. So that's where we are today. It's Wednesday. There's a shorter video than usual. I'm waiting to see if I believe Jamal Adams is going to get AFC Defensive Player of the Week. That hasn't been released, and I haven't seen anything. But I'm hoping that we don't hear from the team about any other type of injuries. I hope we have good practice. We go to D.C. this weekend in a game that we should win. And yesterday, Joe Beningo had Chris Herndon on. I think Ty Montgomery on. They have him on weekly on FAN, and it's Joe and Evan. And Joe went on a rant on how he knows the Jets are going to blow this game after beating the Giants this week. It's just the way things go. And that's just the way sometimes Jet fans feel. You look at, what happens. You beat Dallas, and then, you go and you lose the next two games to Jacksonville and to Miami. And then the Giants, where, you figure it's going to be a tighter game. You have a two-score lead, then you're down, then you have a lead, then you're down, then it goes up and down game. And now Sunday you play a game where there's an interim head coach that came in, a rookie quarterback, an owner who, to me, is more involved in the team and I think makes bad decisions. And we're going to go down there. This Jets team is going to go down there and should win. They should beat them. Just straight up should beat them, but we don't know what's going to happen because history tells us a game like this, they're going to drop. They're going to drop and look bad. And I hope not. I really hope Sam has another good game. I hope Le'Veon has that breakout game because he's really been a team leader. And I hope Adams continues this. Because if he can continue to play like this on defense, then I believe he deserves that contract that he thinks he deserves. And he could be one of those special defensive players. But time will tell, and we shall see. And that's all my cliches today. But check us out, www.nyjetstories.com. That's www.nyjetstories.com. Check us out on Facebook. You can join our Facebook page. NYJet Stories is the Facebook page. Send us a tweet. Send us your ideas. Send us your stories as a Jet fan, what you do on game day, what you cook, where you watch the games. I mean, obviously, you can see this is our Jet room here for me and the family. We watch our away games here most of the time. Just check us out. Let us know. Give us feedback on the video, what you like, what you don't like, what we can do to improve. And we'll take, all your comments and we'll try to post them. And we'll take all your advice and we'll try to make everybody happy. But for now, have a great midweek. Happy Hump Day. Try to stay warm if you're out here in the east. It's bitterly cold out there. And we will have our Week 11 preview coming up in 2 days on Friday morning. And just have a great day. Be safe and hope to hear from everybody.